Hello, Pick a Side Nation. I'm your host, James Finley, for the Pick a Side podcast. You are in for a treat today. We have none other than Mr. Joe Jones coming into the lab for a great interview, an exclusive interview about his time as a LAPD officer, as well as we share so many other great conversations that's on the table. I hope that you enjoy it. I enjoyed doing the interview with him. Hey, you guys sit back. You may be in your car this time. You may be in your house. This time you'll be actually able to see the video as well as hear it. So, hey, enjoy it. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube watching, please hit the subscribe button as well as the share button. You guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. And a very good afternoon. This is James Finley, your host with the Pick a Side podcast. Pick a Side Nation, how you guys doing today? Hope everything is going really good. Hey, listen, every once in a while you do stuff that's planned, and then sometimes you just do stuff off the cliff. Today is one of those days where we just doing it off the cliff with none other than the legend of Los Angeles, Mr. Joe Jones of Versatile Productions. Hey, listen, that's my main man. And listen, I had him come on the show. We was going to do this a little long at some other time, but we went ahead and said, you know what, let's go ahead and try to do this. And, hey, he said, let's go. Listen, my man has done a lot, has seen a lot. He knows every inch of Southern California, from Orange County to Ventura County, from San Francisco to down to San Diego. Heck, that's touching all of California. But hey, he's been in the game for a long time. So we want to touch on a few things with Mr. Joe because, hey, Joe has seen it all, done it all. So first of all, my man Joe, how you doing today?
Hey man, I'm blessed and wonderful, my man.
Listen, you ain't got to be so modest with me, man. Just be yourself, bro. Because this interview is coming from the Love Lounge.
If you give me a chance, I'm gonna go there.
All right, let's go there, brother. Let's go there, man.
100. Like I said, I'm blessed and I'm thankful. Why?
Why, brother?
Because motherfuckers is dying out there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm extremely appreciative of the reality that you know, I don't have an over inflated number of people that have died from this COVID thing. And, you know, yes, there's definitely been some people that I know that have been involved, but, you know, man, all in all, man, I'm blessed and happy as hell, man. That's all it is.
Well, man, listen, man, I'm glad that you are here, brother. And, you know, listen, what people don't know about Joe that I can tell you, man, you know, brothers sometimes don't like to pat themselves on the back, you know, but hey, Joe Jones is somebody, man, who has always been someone who you can look up to. A lot of cats in Los Angeles know Joe. Joe will break his back to do anything for you. And just a good down home brother. And listen, you know, it's just hard not to like Joe because of what Joe does. So I can say that. You ain't got to say that about yourself, but I can say that, man. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I feel that credit is not given, you know, as it should be. And I can say that as well, man. But listen, man, let's dive into a little bit about your background, man. And, you know, you used to be a cop with LAPD. So, you know, we can go into that and then we can kind of segue into Versatile Productions and kind of start off. So, man, kind of tell me, man, what were some of your influences on coming up, man, and how did you even think about, man, joining LAPD back in the day?
Wow. Yeah, that was a real, like, wiggly turn right there for me because, I mean, as any and everybody who knows anything about me, they know I was an athlete. I was a baseball player. So, you know, I played baseball. I played at Crenshaw, actually. I started up there, ended up, you know, making a team as a junior as a 14-year-old junior with a team with Darryl Strawberry on it, and very, very high profile. He ended up going #1 in the country. And, baseball was my thing. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted all my life. But the unfortunate reality was that after playing college ball, I played junior college ball, all everything, and came back home to LA and went to Cal State Dominguez Hills and played a couple years over there, played in the College World Series, was able to make some noise for myself at some point. But then I ended up getting hurt when it was my time.
Right.
And I just really had to unfortunately chalk it up to the reality that, God didn't want that for me. You know what I mean? Because the way it kept happening. I kept trying and I kept getting hurt. Things kept happening. So, at some point I just had to chalk it up to the reality that just wasn't for me. I worked in construction for a long time as a kid. That's how I paid my tuition and paid for myself to go to college. So I worked in construction for a little bit, a company called Henry C. Beck Contractors. My father was actually a general foreman for this company. And he subsequently, talked my way into getting a position as an engineer for that company.
Okay.
So I worked as an office engineer in a major construction company for about a year. And it just came to pass that, here it is. I'm working for a specific company, a company that's very, very solid. But at the same time, if this company were to go and do a project in Texas, Alaska, or wherever, I would have to go wherever that company had to go.
Right.
And, the reality was my heart was right here in Los Angeles. And I didn't want to leave. I had a daughter at that time.
Yeah.
And, in terms of influence, I had a guy who's like a big brother to me when I was in high school at Crenshaw, Ralph Durham.
Yeah.
Who was a security guy. He was a security guard at Crenshaw.
Yeah.
And between him and Michael Strawberry, who was a police officer at the time,
right,
that gave me the belief and that was a career that was rewarding enough financially, that it was a safety blanket for my family in terms of benefits, in terms of having a long life career. But yeah, we thought about the benefits, but we didn't think about all the other shit that came with it.
Right. So in being employed with LAPD, especially as a police officer, there's a lot of brothers in the community, as kids, we grow up and, when the question comes around in second and third grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? It always used to be, I'd be a fireman, I'd be a police officer or a ball player, something like that. But it was either going to be a police officer or a fireman. Now, we realize that in this climate, that's probably the last thing that, young African-American males want to be is a police officer. It is a good job to have, great benefits, great pay, and it's security. But we do know that there's a lot of stuff that goes along with being an officer. So as you were employed with LAPD, what were some of the things that you feel that, you didn't know about, but once you became an officer, you was kind of like, whoa, okay, kind of some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. A lot of that, bro. A lot of that. The reality is, man, is people don't understand, for one, just like you said, as kids, we grow up and we have a thought process. Mine was fireman. I wanted to be, other than baseball, I wanted to be a fireman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somewhere along my process of doing construction, I fell off a 22-foot helicopter
pad
directly onto the concrete. And that gave me an issue psychologically with heights.
Yeah.
The fireman thing went out the window.
Yeah, real quick.
Ladders, you got to be able to do all of that. So I wasn't dealing with nothing with heights, period, at that point in my life.
Yeah.
So, I got to a point where it was like, okay, um, here I am. I'm on a job where, for one, it is absolutely not what I thought. I believed that when you're a part of a bureaucracy and
Right.
a system of government, that
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, they had to do what was right. They had to
Right.
do things that were politically correct and uh, not self-serving, but citizen serving. Or the people that work with them, they had to do the right thing by them. But very quickly, man, I found out that there was some things going on, man, within that process that wasn't kosher, man.
Right.
Uh, I was, you get involved in things where I actually served in a community that I grew up in, and we're talking about, you know, killings. We're talking about conspiracies. We're talking about various things that were happening right around me and with me and to me, and I couldn't get ready for it, man. I wasn't I wasn't the guy that would stab somebody in the back. I wasn't the guy that would lie and conjure up stories and do things that were just not kosher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, here you are, you in a pet bull climate, but you're not a pet bull like that. I'm not that. I wasn't cut like that.
Right. Right.
So I just found myself, man, in a situation where I'm doing a job. The police work itself, police work was nothing. I was good at it. I knew
Mm-hmm.
how to talk to people. I wasn't afraid. I was physically gifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And doing police work itself was nothing. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
people that that run the organization, the people that you got to work for, and some of the people you have to work with that make
Yeah.
that job incredibly tricky.
So let me ask you. So and man, I appreciate you being candid. With us and with the audience. So as being an LAPD officer, man, we hear a lot of things in the media about them being slick. Doing a lot of stuff where uh, we scratch our heads. One of the things that I've always wanted to know, I stay in a section in Los Angeles called Koreatown. And I live like literally up the street from police station. And so why is it that in my community, they have police officers who are Koreans? In our community in South Central Los Angeles, why are there so many white police officers in serving the South Central Los Angeles area, and we don't have enough of our own people there? Because it would seem like a lot of the problems that we would be having in the community, that they would, our own would know how to de-escalate a lot of that stuff. And I think that that's what made you a great police officer during your tenure, because you know the streets, you know what goes on, you know the different gangs and this and that. So, when they see somebody like us, it's a different amount of respect that you're going to get, opposed to some cat that's living out in Simi Valley or in Agora Hills or something like that, that's coming down for an hour drive down to South Central LA to work at Southwest or 77 or Parker. So why can't we have our own police officers police our community?
Well, I mean, that's always been a philosophy that I kind of have thought would be, a cure to a lot of the issues in the community in regards to problems that were being had. But what you have to understand is, first off, there probably absolutely was not enough Black officers available to even police our own community.
Okay.
Then you have a situation where, let's face it, the city of Los Angeles is really a melting pot of a lot of different communities, a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of different cultural circumstances. And probably right within Los Angeles, in the city, is probably, the only, let's say, place within LA where there is a an overbearing amount of black people. You know what I mean? From a standpoint of the, just the boundaries of the city.
Yeah.
Central Los Angeles per capita has a lot more blacks than anywhere else.
Right.
What you also have to understand is that, let's face it, in terms of Los Angeles, in terms of crime, in terms of circumstances that, police officers, most of them that sign up, excited about that opportunity. You get a white officer, they watch TV, they see the news, they see the stuff. They want to work the areas that are considered the hot areas with crime, gangbangers, because now they get to have fun. They get to jack up. They get to do the things that they see are, police work. They don't want to go to the valley. They don't. Some of them don't. Now there's just like anything else. There's so many different personalities, so many different types of people.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't want to do all of that, all the crime, fighting, and all that. Some people just want a nice, low-key situation, a nice stress-free job. But most, what you got to realize, military, the police recruit very heavily from the military. You have people that come out of the military that have been, serving in various countries, doing wars or whatever the things that they've been accustomed to. They've learned to shoot. They've learned to be so physical. They've learned to do all of this. And they want to come employ those tactics and those things that they learned. They want to come and employ that.
Right.
They don't want to be where there's nothing happening. They don't want to be, they live in Simi Valley. They don't want to just come to the valley. They want to come where it's hot.
Where the action is.
Where the action is.
That's crazy.
It's like the valley, let's say the valley. Let's say maybe
Pacoima.
Yeah. There is less crime. There's less stuff, but don't get it twisted. They got pockets in those areas too.
Yeah.
Crime ridden, okay? But for the most part, you come to LA, you're gonna get your money's worth. You know what I'm saying? So they want to come. They want it to be hot. They want to be able to deal with gangbangers and high-profile situations and gun scenarios and all that. They want that.
Yeah.
So, just flat out. And, what I want to do right now is dispel the myth that every police officer that's white is an asshole or every officer is a certain way.
Right.
I've met some of the coolest fucking white police officers that you could ever meet on the job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I will tell you this too, to piggyback on that. I've met some of the biggest assholes that you will ever fucking find in the world on a police department. Okay? And unfortunately, there are some black stuff that goes on a police department. Nowhere near as much as the white on black stuff. Trust me.
Wow.
But there is some, you got to realize there's either the police officer that's black that has bitten the apple and bought into the systematic approach that they have, and then there's the officers that ain't with that shit. That just is not going to be over there dogging their own people out. That's not going to be going through no disrespectful processes of dealing with their folks. This job can be done with dignity and respect, but you have to have officers that came there with dignity and respect. Many of the people that come to this job, white, I would say predominantly white. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to stereotype, but it's a fact. A lot of the white quite a few, some, and what I would say, like, it's really like a 80% to me. I would just give you a ratio. I would say 75% are good officers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
You got this 25% of motherfuckers who just wonder where they come from. And the reality to that 25%, they gonna work 2 times harder than the
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
They love it.
Yeah.
They love fucking with people.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. That's what they do. You know what I mean? So you're gonna feel that 25% a lot more than you're gonna feel that 75%. You know what I mean?
So, it's the old analogy, when you have a pail of good apples, you
Yeah,
got 100 apples and all of them is good.
yeah,
And you throw one bad apple in that pail of the rest of those 99 good apples, it's gonna make all the other apples go bad. So some of those good officers is doing the good deeds. The stuff that the bad ones are doing are so off the chain that it just sheds a bad light on the whole department. Now, listen, I'm not naive. I got a whole bunch of friends that work for LAPD, and all the friends that I have for LAPD, hey man, they good folks. They not out there trying to, change the world using their batons and using the guns and stuff, and they see too, what's going on. And unfortunately, man, you're no longer with LAPD right now. But if you can give the audience, give us a every day when you would go to work, before you guys would go out into the street, tell me what the briefing room was like before you guys, whatever your commander, what was that like, on a daily basis as before you hit the streets? What would that be like?
well, it's funny. I have a really really funny story um, that you would ask that particular question. And then I'm gonna deal with that thing first, and then I'll go
Sure,
into
sure.
reality. But my first day on probation in the Valley, I was working West Valley Division, way out there. I came in a roll call. I'm the only brother in there.
Mm-hmm.
The only brother in roll call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a probationer. I'm sitting in the back, right? And they start having a conversation. The watch commander is talking about crime in the area. He's talking about, who's working with who, gives you your assignments, tells everybody who they're working with, this, that, and the other. So at some point, the watch commander has a conversation about robberies that are occurring on Ventura Boulevard, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
So he says this, and he says, "Don't." He says, "Look, the suspects are male, male blacks, da 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 da, but be careful in how you, just don't go and whatever. Don't be rambunctious, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So this one officer that was way up in the front stood up and said, "Fuck that. Let's just do like we used to do in the old days and just jack all of their asses up." So I'm like, woo, woo, you know. He said, "Yeah, we're just getting too fucking candy assed out here, and these fucking, these fuckers are just doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and da 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 and da 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 da." So I'm like, wow, that's great. So we go, so the other officers basically were trying to look like, motherfucker, hold up,
Yeah, yeah. You guys got a block to do back.
in the back, what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hey, we'll talk to you. We'll talk about this, later. Because the watch cameraman, they trying to calm his fool down. So guess who I'm working with?
The dude that said that.
Guess who my training officer was?
Woo, 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 woo.
So imagine we go, we figure out who, they say we're partners. So we go, and I'm the boot. I'm the new nigga on the block. I got to play the role and do what I got to do and da 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 da. So unfortunately, I wasn't that good at playing roles too tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, I'm a team player. I come from sports. I know how to be the freshman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I never knew how to kiss ass.
Right,
So I
right.
get there, and we get ready to go. We go get the car. I get ready to go get the car. So I get the car. I get the shotgun. I get the radios and all the stuff that I needed to do to prepare the car to go out for patrol. So he tells me, "Hey, just go go get the car prepared, and I'll meet you at the car." So I go. I get the car prepared, have everything ready to go. When the guy got there, logged on, I wrote out our, what you call DFR, which is the information of the two officers, and then you start logging all the calls that you go on throughout the shift, right? So I took care of all that and was just sitting there waiting on it. And I'm like this. stone face.
Yeah.
Because I'm still frazzled like a motherfucker. The fact that not only did this fool say what he said,
Yeah.
but here I am, got to work with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
8 hours, you know what I mean?
Right.
All day, throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
So he comes and he gets in the car and he looks, says, oh, you got a signed one already? Oh, yeah, okay, good. Oh, you got your MDT day? Oh, well, good. Like in other words, I took care of all the shit, and he was like, okay, good job,
Yeah.
So I didn't say shit. So we backed out. He backed out. He's driver, of course. So we pull out the lot, and we start driving. We go at least 6-7 minutes. I don't say a word. So he asked me, he said, do you have a problem with what I said or something in roll call? I said, you damn right I do.
That's
true. You damn right I do.
Yeah.
How would you like it if your fucking family came down here? I might have didn't say fucking family.
Yeah.
I probably said family. I said, how would you like it if your family came down here, man, and some police officers just randomly decide to jack all their asses up? How would you like it, my man? So it wouldn't be cool. You wouldn't like it. I know you wouldn't. You know what I mean? I said, so I feel it's a real like tricky situation for me right now. Just talking to you, knowing that you got that type of mentality. You know what I mean?
Right.
And bro pulled over. He said, hey man. He said, look, he said, I said what I said, and he said it wasn't, sometimes things come off a certain way, and that's not the complete intent in regards to what I'm trying to say. So in other words, he gave me a bunch of bullshit.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, okay, man, whatever, man. You know what I mean? So we just go on with the day. I got to work with the cat. It is what it is. He's my probation. He's my training officer. So not only do I have to work with this dude 2 or 3 months straight. And he's giving me my ratings. He's the one that's deciding who I am and what at one point. So the bottom line was like I told you, as far as being a police officer, I was a good police officer. I knew my shit. It wasn't like I was so technically advanced or so uniquely gifted in one particular area, but in terms of, all the different functions of being a police officer, I was solid. You know what I mean? So, he probably was excited, amused daily, So bottom line was he couldn't say nothing about me. I didn't have to kiss his butt. I took care of business. My ratings were great. We ultimately got to a place where we were okay, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the job. But I just always knew I had to, pay attention to the dude. I knew I couldn't let my hair down. I had to be on guard with him. So that's what I did.
Joe, the one thing about that, like I always say, with racism, I appreciate the person that tells me straight up, hey, listen, man, I really don't care nothing about you. Than the person that won't say it. Yeah. And then I never know which direction that individual is going or not. In your situation, he could have apologized to you all day long, but you still knew what was in his heart because he did not know that you were sitting in the back. Yeah. Now, I guarantee you that if he had known that you was in the back, he would not have stated that, but it was still in his heart. Yeah. So, sometimes, we just go with the flow because, that's what we have to do. And, man, I think that I think you handled that situation pretty cool, man. As you say, training day. So, we all seen Denzel in the movie Training Day. And so let me ask you something. How real do you think that was, that movie Training Day? I know it was a movie, but is that kind of reality in somewhat?
You know what? I would say that it for movie purposes, it was fluff some. You know what I mean? For movie purposes, there is a little bit of fluff. But in reality, when you talk about, working undercover narcotics, you're talking buying drugs, you're talking about dealing with the worst motherfuckers out there, people who kill your ass in a heartbeat, people who you're going into situations to deal with drugs and dope and money, and you're dealing face to face with the criminals, with the fools with the guns, with the people that got everything to lose. And, you deal with some real tough, cutthroat cats. So you can't send a sheep to go fight a wolf. You got to send a wolf to fight a wolf.
Yeah.
So there's certain characteristics they're going to look for you to even get on those buy teams and those drug teams and those groups of organizations that are, here to, squash or quash drug sales and dealings. And then at some point, there's so many liberties. You go into a dope situation and, you got stacks of money sitting right here. You arrested the people, they took them out the house. You got this money, some of this money sitting there. I mean, how easy of a mentality, if you got some bills late or whatever, you look at that money, you be like, man, shit, I'm gonna slap me a couple of these 2 or 3 of these several of these $100 bills in my pocket right quick.
Right,
what
right.
I mean? So who's gonna know? They're not gonna know. I don't care. They're not gonna know. So, it's really easy, man, to get involved in criminal activity, so to speak, as an undercover narc, because you're not governed. They give you freedom. They're not there watching you like, the sergeants, they're not there. You're running that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of liberties given to undercover narcotics organizations, buy team, liquor, the people that serve, that deal with the alcohol, ABC stuff. I mean, they just get a lot of liberty to do police work.
Wow.
And no one really questions them because they're the upper echelon for the most part of your job, of your community. These people have done jobs and they've gotten a good enough recommendation and reference to be referred to be on a special unit. So there's this assumed situation that officer is a good officer, for the most part.
Right.
You get in things and it can change you.
Yeah.
People that are there already can change you because it's either you got to fit in or you're going to get your ass out. And if most people who've came from patrol, if you've worked patrol and you wanted the hell out, if you wanted out of it because you were tired of the sergeants harassing you, the petty stuff, dealing with complaints from citizens, from all the drama that you deal with, once you got out of patrol, there's nowhere in the world you want to go back. So now you're in the dope side. Now you got freedom. You can damn near do what you want to do. You kick ass and take names, slap people around. Ain't nobody gonna say shit. You know what I mean? So you're getting into a world where, man, you don't want to lose it. So you do what you got to do, man.
Woo. Well, brother, let me tell you, man.
Do what you do.
Joe, listen, man. On this particular segment of you being an LAPD ex-officer, man. Whoo. Listen, brother, I'm sitting over here, on the edge of my seat with everything you saying, man, because even me, being one of your homeboys, man, I you telling me stuff I didn't know. And listen, so I know that you have an upcoming project. You're getting a book together, and I know that a lot of things will probably be put in that book about that. And I want to be able to save those opportunities because the people already, you're the people now. It's like, shoot, I can't wait now, man. So we gonna let Joe say the rest of that, man. So you guys already have got a kind of a preview of what Joe's book is gonna be. So you'll be seeing Joe sitting down signing some autographs somewhere, man, because I can't wait. So, man, listen, let's go ahead and let's move forward a little bit. So after you kind of left the LAPD, all I started seeing was Joe Jones presents this, Joe Jones presents that. So, Joe Jones, you took hold of the landscape for Los Angeles in the entertainment, sector. of promoting. So, man, let's talk about that, man. So, how did you get involved, man? I'll tell you what was your first gig that you ever threw? You remember your first one?
That that goes a long way back, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
I'm talking, 14, 15 years old.
Uh-huh.
We're talking a long way back. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's always been something within me. My father basically birthed it.
Okay.
From the standpoint of when I was growing up, my father was, like I said, he was in construction. So he built what we call a rumpus room dance hall in our backyard that he would rent. Does that kind of ring a bell?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at it.
That he would rent and do big parties, do events, quinceañeras, everything. We were in the Mid-Wilshire area at the time. So he would rent our backyard and do parties. And that was always something in the back of my mind that I said, regardless of whatever I did, I said I was going to be a professional baseball player, but I was going to own a club.
Yeah.
And that was my whole perfect case scenario. Me being a pro baseball player, doing and playing the sport that I loved, I had a passion for, I had an affinity for, the sport that would get me respected by kids and a whole hell of a lot of money so that I could make an impact on kids. I've always wanted to help kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as well, just to be able to do the things that I wanted to do, as far as like life and making an impact. That sport was what I wanted to do. But and we talk about the club stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Club stuff.
But
okay. So bottom line was, even while I was a police officer, though, I mean, I started doing events before, but then what really birthed the bigger events, I did an event as a police officer. Me and a young lady, Sandy Britt. She's a dynamic officer. She's about to retire pretty soon, and she's just dope as I don't know what. Probably the most fit black sister you've ever seen in your life. Me and her did an event, and at the Torrance Marriott. I remember plain as day. And I, of course, I put it together, and it was an event with the police officers and the fire department.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So I did an event at the Torrance Marriott, man, and we literally had 1,000 people at this event.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I knew she helped some. She did her share. She was dope. They helped a lot. They helped out quite a bit. She helped out quite a bit. But I had to put that thing together. I had to make that thing happen. Yeah. And I really felt like with all the stuff that I did and things that it's like, okay, there's obviously a deficiency in regards to people having quality stuff to go to. They don't want to go to the typical stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. So I carved a landscape, and I created an event called the LA Social Club, which is an event that I did every first Saturday of the month. Yep. And I would use posh locations, class, upscale venues. And, I had already birthed the name Versatile Productions because I actually started off I did a 3-on-3 tournament in the Inland Empire area way back when. That was before I wasn't even a police officer. I was before police. That was 88 or something like that, where I did a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. It was Versatile Productions, and then I did a big event out in the La Puente area. Mm-hmm. And I was doing events, and I was from LA doing events way out there, gaining crowd, still getting people, But then I said, hey, well, why am I working so hard? Why am I doing stuff way out here? Let me come home. Let me do some stuff in the area. Bring the same mentality that I have to it. And I'll do all right, do good. So I started my events, and man, God willing, it became, they were pretty solid. And then it got to be a point within that process where I was having my trials and tribulations with LAPD through a lot of the stuff. So I had to survive off of promotions.
Oh, so gotcha.
That gave me even a greater incentive to be professional, to be solid, to be on point, and that's what I had to do, and that's what I did.
Well, back in the 80s, the mid 80s and the 90s and part of the 2000s, I know the late 80s and the 90s, for me, those were our golden era years, man, on the club circuit, man. And I know that Los Angeles, man, we had some stuff out here popping, man, where people would fly from all over the country to come out, man, to get a taste of it, man. And we all know, the one on Santa Monica Boulevard on Thursday nights was probably, it has to be top 5 of all time. It has to be, and you talking to a brother where I've done a whole lot of traveling around, and I've seen a whole lot. That puppy there on Santa Monica Boulevard called Paradise 24. That puppy right there, man. It's hard to, matter of fact, I don't even know of another one that could compete with that. But just the fact that you, even in that era with Paradise 24, that you were still able to generate big crowds and things like that on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, man, that's the testament to you and your promotions of what you guys were doing back then. And then, you've always had that longevity, Joe, in the game. And so, people always are going to go and flock for those people that's been in the game for a long time. So that speaks to your character on how you treat people fairly at the door, man. So what do you think, why do you think that you were able to stay in that particular arena for so long?
Well, for one, because it's honestly, I kind of feel like I've seen so many people come and go in promotions. And, the one thing that I've always knew about me was that this is in my blood.
Yeah.
This is what I'm here to do. Because for one, there was nothing that gave me a greater satisfaction than to be the responsible person for a bunch of people having a great time. I really enjoy seeing people enjoy themselves. It's really something that I like doing. For two, I had a work ethic about me that, if I had an event and there was a point in time where there was, you set the event up and then you have your time to promote the event.
Yeah.
I would promote that event up until the time I walked through the door. I would be promoting on the way to the event.
Yeah.
I would promote day one all the way through, because at the reality, yes, I had some people who I had put on and employed to be down with me or to help me. But so many times, things happen that let me know that, what, all you can trust is what you do.
Right.
You can't trust what somebody else is going to do. There's been times I had given promoters flyers and thinking that they're passing them out. I remember one time I had a young lady who was promoting for me, right? She was promoting for me, and I would give her flyers every month for the various events or whatever.
Right.
But one day, it was about, she had been promoting for me for a year, for a couple years. And one day we had to go, we went to go, we had to go to her trunk to get something. And she popped the trunk, and I go around to to where the trunk was for her to give me what it was that she was going to give me. I look in the trunk, man, she got shoe boxes full of my flyers in her car. So, man, I was giving this young lady flyers, man, and she wasn't even passing them out. You know what I mean? So the reality was just that you find out through trials and tribulations that there are going to be people who are going to really be down with you, and they just going to go hard for you because that's just what they are, and they're people with integrity.
Yeah.
Then there are people who are going to talk the talk, but are not going to walk the walk. So
Yeah.
I always had to walk the walk. I always had to be motivated. I always had to stay on top of my game. I always had to push hard, and I had to cover all angles of promotion. I never took anything for granted. I never assumed, okay, well, I'm not gonna mail this time. I'm just gonna do this, or I'm not gonna do that. Then as things grew, you went from just flat out street promotion. Then you went to, sending flyers in the mail. Then you went to emails were created. Then now you go to the social media stuff, and then you get these different. There were just completely different eras in promotion.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you were not resilient, if you were not the type of person that knew how to reinvent themselves, you die. You're not going to last.
Yeah, yeah.
At this point, I want to give a shout to a gentleman that was instrumental in me becoming a promoter from a standpoint of giving me a vision of what I needed to be like and kind of wanted to be like in a sense. And that is, rest in peace, my man, Roland Worth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Roland I saw him when I was 13 years old, coming up in high school.
Yeah.
He was our DJ at our multi-purpose room at Crenshaw, doing
right.
the dances at Crenshaw, and he used to come up there in his TR6 and have a couple crates full of records on his car, and he'd come up there and DJ those events, man. And I said to myself, damn, this dude right here, he's cool, And then he ultimately opened the Golden Tail.
Yeah, that's right.
Speakeasy.
Yep.
They were doing all these other clubs, and he was united with my guy Mark Gaspard, who was another class act.
Yeah.
And they were doing this club, and like I said, they started doing what's her name, and they had a young lady, Pandora Mackey and Veronica Crafter, and these were people who were doing events, and these were the names I was hearing. I'm probably 17, a young dude, but I'm out there in it. I'm out there in them clubs. You understand me?
Yeah.
I had already graduated from high school, so I was out there in them clubs, baby. I was in there popping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just got to that point, man, where I just always knew that I would get out. You know what I mean? That was just a matter of how it would come together.
Well, man, you definitely have left your mark on not just Los Angeles, but Southern California, because for those of you that's not located out here in the Los Angeles area, everybody, and I mean everybody, know Joe Jones. I listen, if you go on your Facebook right now and you just put mutual friends to it, Joe Jones' name is on everybody's mutual friends because everybody know Joe. Everybody know Joe because
police.
What was that now? But we all, everybody knows him, man. But man, Joe, listen, man, I know that you kind of during this COVID-19, this pandemic that we're going through, it kind of slowed a lot of things down. We're not able to get out and, gather like we used to, man, because, it's just not a safe thing, but, I know that whenever opportunity presents itself where we have opportunity to get back on the grind of things, I know you're going to still be there because I know it's in your blood. I don't know how many more years you have left for wanting to grind it on out, but I will tell you, man, that you've provided a great deal of entertainment and memories for a lot of, people from Los Angeles, brother, where we want to just say thank you, man, for doing that. For a lot of people's birthday parties have been through Joe Jones, man, everything from back in the day up until now, the Taco Tuesday things, man, brother, I remember you came to me one time, and you pretty much forced me to have a birthday party on Taco Tuesday, man. I didn't want to do it, man. And because of you, man, I had some people who I had not seen in a great deal. So, man, it's always been positive, man. I know I don't even want to get into the negative part of it. there is a negative side of promoting, man, that's dark and it's ugly. And I'll leave that for you for your book. But man, I really want to thank you, brother, for, being a part, of this podcast. And because I know Joe, and because I know that he is working on a project. For some of you guys may come back and be like, well, Finn, why you didn't ask Joe this and why you didn't ask Joe that? Well, my man is working on a book. And Joe, you want to give a little thing about your book right now and tell them what you're working on?
Well, I mean, I'm having clarity and putting together a book that has been burning at my heart for 15, 20 years. I've been writing.
Yeah.
I've been actually writing, putting material together for the last 15 to 20 years, just, taking notes and putting stuff down. And, it's related to the trials and tribulations of being a black man that's a black police officer, and also being a brother that not only, experienced, racial inequities within the police field, but, the police field got me, to being a really, really strong cog within a promotion world where you met with more racial issues. And it's just tough. It's just tough being a black man, a big black man, especially.
Yeah.
It's just people, feeling like, you want to growl at them when all you want to do is hug them and love them.
Yeah, that's real talk, brother.
Many times I've had negative circumstances come up when I had nothing but positive, affirmations for the whole situation. And, just time and time again, it happens. And people look at us like we just want to hurt and we don't want to love. It's a lot of good brothers out here, man. A lot of good people out here. A lot of people that are being, looked at negatively just because of the color of their skin. And that is what my life is about, trying to do whatever I can do to change and curtail the belief that just because somebody's black, they're a particular way, or just because somebody's white, they're a particular way. And I want to give a shout out to my Latino community.
Absolutely.
The hard work, the work of pay. We should all pay attention. Work hard and you will reap rewards.
That's right. That's right.
If they don't teach you that, I don't know what will. You know what I'm saying? So, no, bro, I appreciate, I heard all the, I don't want to be too show too much humility, in the sense that I make sure that I show appreciation to the compliments and things of that nature. Yeah, I look back sometimes and I look at all these old flyers and I look at all the stuff I've done. And
bro.
I say to myself, damn.
Yeah.
You've done some things, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what? It's always been, for me, you're only as good as your next party. So whatever was in the past, people do that. They forget about it. That was in the past. You know what I mean? So as good as my next party, man. And so as good as the next situation we pop off. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, brother, it has been the pleasure's all mine, man. I'm glad to say that I'm just not an associate. I'm just not a fly on the wall. But hey, man, I'm glad that I'm your dog. I'm glad I'm your homeboy, man. And
Sure.
and as well as I know that when times are down and, man, when we need each other, man, we always be a phone call away from each other, man. And I appreciate you, man, on days, man, where you just called to say, hey, man, I'm just checking on you. You don't know what that means to me, man, because I know that we both have schedules that, can get kind of hectic. Hey, man, and there's times when I have to give you a little shout out, man, just check on you, man. And I think that, in the brotherhood of the brothers, man, we need to be more of that, man. We tend to put so much of our pride and our ego stands in the way, man, of how we truly feel about each other, man. So, Man, thank you for giving me the opportunity, man, to go ahead and interview you, man, and get the ball rolling, man, on the things that you have coming up, man. It's truly a blessing, man. So listen, I just want everyone to know that we'll be having our next podcast coming up on Monday. We have a couple of guests that we have that's in the pipeline right now that you'll be able to see. But Joe, appreciate you so very much being on the show today. And as I always say, as I always end my podcast, keep God first place in your life. And you better believe he will take you places that you never dreamed of. Mr. Jones, Mr. Versatile Productions, thank you once again, sir. We'll talk on the other side.
I appreciate you, my
All right,
man.
brother. Appreciate it. Go ahead, get your plug in.
Real quick. My son, TC Veggies.
Oh, by all means.
Has an album out called Fresh Veggies 2, okay? I'd love for you guys to chime into what my little man is doing. He's been rocking in the music business for 10 years, 12 years or so, and he's only 26 years old, so he was 14 years old when he started. So rock with my kid, man. He's a dope artist, man. He really does have quality music. So give him a shout. Fresh Veggies 2. It's on all platforms. Check him out. He's with Rocky Fresh. That's the name of the album, Fresh Veggies 2.
You got it, brother. You got it. Thanks for that plug, brother. Hey, man, have a good day, man. We'll talk on the other side, brother. This is James Finley, your host, signing off on Pick a Side Podcast. We'll see you next Monday. Take care.